holidays, everyone, and welcome to Scottsdale Public Library. Today we're going to be showing you how to do another book folding craft. And today's craft is a festive holiday votive candle holder. And all you need for this craft is an old book, a flameless candle, some squirts from a glue gun, a cutting tool, and your own imagination like a ribbon and artificial flowers. So stay tuned, we'll show you how to do it. So the materials you'll need for this craft are going to be an old book. You will need some kind of cutting tool. We're using an X-Acto knife today, but you could also use a razor blade, a box cutter, or if you're really fortunate, you might know someone that actually has a skill saw, or you might have one of those rotary zip saws. You will need a ruler and a pencil, and then any embellishments you want to finish your votive holder off with. So the first thing you really want to do is take your book, and what we're going to do is, this is an old paperback book, we're going to rip the cover off of it, just like that. And then we need to measure how big to make the hole for the votive. So, and you're going to be making a cut like this. So with this votive candle, we're going to actually measure it. And it measures about just under 1.5 inches. So you are going to want to make this line half of the 1.5. So we're going to go about, so this is where the candle would normally be. But we want to make the whole half of that size. So we're going to do it at just about 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to mark that, we're going to draw a line. And then the other line you want to do is how deep you want your candle to set. So this is set down pretty far, so we want it actually up pretty high. We want it to stick up like this. So we're not going to actually cut down that far. And actually, I'm just going to draw a line right here, because I do want the votive to sit up a little bit. And depending on what type of votive you get, some of them are taller. This is actually one of the shorter ones. But any of them will work. So now this is actually the hardest part of this whole craft, and that is the cutting, because it can take a while. So using our X-Acto knife and the lines that we drew here, you're going to basically cut down like that through all the pages of the book. And then you're going to want to cut the other way, like this. Like I said, this is probably the most difficult part of this craft. And that's why it's really important to have a nice sharp blade. And you're just going to tear these off from the spine. And that's why I said if you knew someone who had a Dremel tool or a skill saw, you could just buzz this right away and it would go zip, zip, zip. But we're just going to finish cutting this part out, and then we'll come back and we'll show you the next step. All right, welcome back everyone, and we have finished making our cut. And as you can tell, it went pretty smoothly. Didn't take me long at all. But again, I had a really sharp cutting tool. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. So we're going to go ahead and start with step 2, and that is doing fold number 1, and that is folding in a triangle down to meet the vertical cut that you made. And I'm just using a Sharpie as a creasing tool. And you're going to do this for all of the pages in the book. As you can see, it's going to start to take shape. And as you can tell, this is why we made the cut, so that our votive will nestle snugly into that little pocket when we're done. Okay? So let's finish making our fold number 1. And we will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so we have finished with fold number 1, and this is what it looks like when you're done. As you can see, it's starting to take shape. So the second and final fold that you will be doing is to take the page and fold it in toward the spine. Just like that. And it's up to you whether you want to do both of these folds simultaneously, one right after the other, or just do one through the whole book and then go back and do the second fold. It's completely up to you, whichever works best. And as you can see, it's starting to take shape, and you can kind of see what it's going to look like when you get all done. So we're going to go ahead and finish up with fold number 2, and we will come back and we will show you what it looks like. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you get all of the folds done. And now we are ready to actually glue the spine. But before you go ahead and do that, what I want you to do is, every book is a little bit different, and so some book spines are a little bit more rigid and other ones are more flexible. But you may have to actually manipulate the spine and kind of break it up, and that's just done by grabbing it in various spots around the circle and kind of just bending it. And I've done that a little bit here, and I'm going to be putting glue in the middle here and then paper clipping it as the glue sets up. So you basically want it to look something like this from the bottom. As you can see, the glue in here as well as the top. And this one just actually came together quite nicely. The spine was not that rigid, so it didn't take a lot of manipulating to get it to look like a perfect circle. So let's go ahead and put our glue in. And you want to use quite a bit. You're not going to see any of this anyway. And I also put a little bit of glue on the papers too, just to help them set up. So now, once I got the glue in there, bring it together, and you want to make sure that the folds are meeting and that they're even. And make sure you take your fingers and really press that spine together to let it set up. And this doesn't take very long, since the hot glue gun doesn't take long to dry. And as you can see, it is already set up. I didn't even have to paper clip it. So that's how easy it is. And it looks perfect. So now we are going to go ahead and come to the fun part, and that's decorating it. So just a few tips before you start to embellish your votive holder, and you can definitely benefit from my trial and error. When you are gluing on the ribbon and you're going to use something big like this flower in the middle, or maybe this Christmas pick, wherever the ribbon meets, that's where you want to put your embellishment. So it'll cover up your ribbon and you won't be able to see where it starts and where it stops. On some of the first ones I did, I didn't even think about that. So when you turn them around, you can actually see where the ribbon starts and stops. Just a little bit messier. And obviously you can use the ribbon as much or as little as you want. On this one, I used a great big cardinal ribbon, and then there was some coordinating ribbon, the plaid that I put on the bottom and right below, and another coordinating gold lame ribbon that I put on the top, as well as I lined the votive holder on the top. So it made a nice cohesive decoration. Same with the blue one. So just some tips and tricks before you actually get started, and let's go ahead and decorate. Okay, welcome back everyone. So we're gonna go ahead and start decorating our votive holder, and what I have actually done so far is I took the flowers off the stem and just cut them. I tried to get them as flat as possible, since you're going to be gluing it on to the base. So you kind of want, you know, as flat a surface as you can possibly get. And I just snipped these with some wire cutters. And then I cut the ribbon and I measured around. And like I said, you kind of, wherever you glue it to meet is where you want to put your great big flower, if you have one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and take our glue gun, and I'm going to try to do this a little bit at a time. Just put some glue on the ribbon. Grab your base. Kind of make sure you're somewhat in the middle, if you want it in the middle. Like I said, You can be as creative as you want on these. And as the glue dries pretty fast, obviously, so you kind of have to work quickly. But it is kind of instant gratification because it's done with hot glue. And if you do happen to mess up with the hot glue, and I have done that, I have actually been able to pull it off and redo it and reattach it. So if you don't like how your ribbon is, you know, glued down for some reason, or you don't like it, don't be afraid to kind of pry it back up and glue again. So that's what it looks like so far. This is where we have met. And we're just going to try to glue this down a little bit further so we have a smooth surface. And just remember, this is where my main big flower is going to go. So this will be covered up, so don't worry about that. But what I thought I'd do with this one is, since I have so many of these nice purple flowers, I think I'm going to go around and put a few of them on the ribbon and see how that looks. So I like to put a lot of glue. And this was kind of a unique ribbon. It actually has pictures of artichokes on it, which I thought was kind of cute. Trying to do it as even as possible. But that's where the creativity comes in. Okay, so we're going to put some other flowers in the middle, which will be the front of our votive holder. And there's a couple things that I thought about doing this way. I thought I could do a number of purple ones like that, but I thought that may be too much. So I think what I'm going to do is, I have this other stem of flowers, and I'm just going to cut a few off of here and use this. So we're going to go ahead and take care and do the rest of this, decorate it, and we'll be back to show you the finished project. All right, welcome back everyone. This is our finished product, and I just ended up putting a nice big purple flower in the middle and adding some green leaves, some berries, and just some general foliage. And I think it turned out really well. I'm really pleased with it. And as you can see, here's some examples of some other ones that we've done. Here's a nice autumn harvest one. We even added some leaves up here where the votive sits. Here's a nice holiday one with a Christmas pick in the middle, and a butterfly one with some butterflies actually flying out from the folds that we found. There's some fabulous holiday ribbon out there. It's just beautiful, and if you can hit the after holiday sales, you can get some great bargains. So happy decorating. Welcome back everyone. If you're just joining us, this is what we did today. This is a festive holiday votive candle holder made with just an old book, some folding pages, and your own creativity. And as you can see, we kind of covered the whole gambit of seasons here. We did some holiday ones, some autumn ones, some nice spring sunflowers. The sky's the limit, and your own imagination is limitless. So as with all our crafts, we would love to see your finished products and post your photos on our Facebook. And as always, we just want to thank you for joining us today. Have a great holiday. Stay well.